There's no way that this isn't copywritten. I don't know how long this podcast will be up if I start it with this kind of stuff. But I just wanted you guys to remember that what I say here is final, unless you guys change my mind. This is Seriously Fucking With You, podcast number 3 with Joey Bender, brought to you by the Lunch Break Boys. We get right into it. It's April 23rd, 23. That was my old basketball number in high school. Shout out to Jarrett Hamilton. He one time, this is a true story. This is how cocky the kids I played basketball with in high school were. I had worn 23, the number, for 3 years. Freshman, sophomore, junior year. Senior year, Jarrett Hamilton, our point guard at Cathedral, decided he wanted to wear it. And was like, hey, I'm going to take that. I don't want that number. And I was like, it's mine, so no. And he was probably one of the better players in the state. And so he's like, no, I want to take it. He's like, let's have a shoot-off for it. And I was like, fuck it. I shouldn't even agree to that, but I did because I was soft-bodied back in the day. Extra soft-bodied. And I beat him. I beat him in the 3-point shoot-off. I was a swing forward turned center, power forward. Jared was a 3-point shooting point guard. I said, no, let me get these buckets. Let me keep this jersey. And now not only was I number 23, but now every day of his life, he has to wake up and look himself in the mirror and be like, Joey Bender beat me in that 3-point competition for Jordan, for LeBron. You know what I mean? So I don't even know. He probably wore something stupid. He probably wore like 47. I think he wore number 47 after that. Which it didn't really make a lot of sense to anybody, but that's something he would do. So you can't. I guess you can't. What do they say? You don't hate the player, hate the game. You know. But yeah, April 23rd. It's pool season, so. This basically, in Indiana, this is one of the most exciting times of the year. You're coming out of that permafrost. You're going back and forth from that 70-degree day down to that. Then the next day you got the sleet. Then you got that 70-degree day, then the sleet. I think they call it an Indian summer. A little racist, if you ask me. Also, like Indian giving. I just don't get it. It's kind of hard to understand that culture because you're not exposed to it. I think those sayings like Indian summer, Indian giving will eventually kind of fade away. With the millennial generation, just because we're simply. At first I think they're derogatory comments. I don't know. We're just not exposed to enough Indian culture. So even though we live in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I think Indianapolis, polis I know means city in Latin because I took 2 years of Latin. And then Indiana or Indian City, that I think that just simply means this is the city of Indians. I have not seen one Native American my entire life in Indianapolis. So I saw a fake fake Native American once at my hillbilly uncle's wedding. He wore a headdress and no shirt, but I don't think he was just a really tan Florida guy. A lot of people confuse people from Florida with Indians because they go past it's weird because like my uncles don't even wear sunscreen anymore, but yet like they're as fair skinned as I am. If I don't wear sunscreen, they'll go out on a fishing boat for 3 years in a row and they'll just get a nice deep bronze. They don't even wear sunscreen, so it's like it'll trick you if you let the mind trick you, it will. So don't let that happen. But anyway, super excited. The pool's back. I was thinking about all the things I was excited for, and obviously with my cynical type of mentality, I couldn't help but think about the things I'm not excited for. And this is probably my least favorite type of individual that's going to be at the pool. Every pool you can think of, every fratty pool, quote unquote, or every type of a party pool, you inevitably have these 2 girls. Sometimes it's 3. It can be as many as 4. But you get those like 2, 3, 4 girls who are probably in the higher tier of looks. And they clearly work out a lot. They've got they keep the bod tight year round. But then they go to the pool and they kind of lay on their stomach and they have like earbuds in while everyone's partying, having a good time. They just have like their earbuds in. They angle their chairs towards the sun and they don't talk to anybody. They just lay there to get that color. Maybe one of them will crack open a Truly or a White Claw. And that's kind of the one you hawk in on that one because it just shows she's got that kind of personality that can crack. So you just kind of double down on her, and see if you can kind of finagle your way into the rest of the that little crew. But a lot of times you can't. These girls are damaged mostly unless you have like a bunch of tribal tattoos, and like you wear those like checkered like Vans shoes, and like you got like Oakley sunglasses on. The ones that those Oakleys that have just the I'm not sure what you call those, the arms on the glasses, the ones that go around your ears. They just go straight, like they don't curl around that part of your head. I never understood that because I got one lopsided ear. So maybe I could maybe benefit from something like that. I got one ear. It's a little different. A couple surgeries, I was that kid with the tubes at the pool, couldn't dip his head under for like a summer. So I think that's why I'm so grateful for pool season now, because I used to be that kid who, like, I never once held my nose when I jumped in. I know a couple people that hold their nose when they jump in. I'm not gonna call them out, but like, hey, if you're 29 or you gotta stop holding your nose when you jump in the pool. I saw one of my good boys was he was I think one of the quotes I hate, but I think he was kicking his coverage. It's just like I just cannot stand when people say that. But in this I guess he was out kicking his coverage, and he was about to seal the deal, and then he's like, I'm gonna just jump in the pool one last time right before they're about to leave. She was already holding some of his stuff, I remember, and he went to jump in the pool one last time. He plugged up his nose real quick. He plugged it up, and she looked right at him. And she saw that. She put down his phone and his wallet, and she left. When he reemerged from the deep end, she was gone. And I remember being like, damn, that nose plug will really, really change some things pretty quick, Oh no, hell no. That was kind of her reaction. Um, it reminded me a lot of like a very Nappy Roots type thing, where it's like, oh hell no, So that happened. So I mean, yeah, like the thing about pool season, you gotta do whatever you can to get ready. I've been showing you guys on Instagram, like I'm contacting some of the best in the world. I sent Khloe Kardashian so far 3 messages that she hasn't answered yet about getting, just at least not on the show, revenge body, but picking up on some tips and tricks. I don't see why I can't get revenge. Even though most of my ex girlfriends they hate me, like I was the problem, and so I don't really. I think that is kind of like that negates, like I shouldn't have I guess that makes sense now that I think about my submission to the show. Like I guess that's not how it works. Like they can't hate me, and then I come back with a better body next year. Because then that's just double double douchebag is what that show could be called. I could call that show Double Douchebag with who's like a douchey bodybuilder. So I don't know, because I'm not. I kind of have more of a my body is more of like my body really looks more like corporate active, you could call it. It's nothing to write home about, but I'm also I'm not repulsive looking when you see me in public. It just kind of says like this guy obviously works at a desk, but then sometimes like he probably plays in all the intramural leagues, like the corporate leagues. So I definitely have that sort of that those chuck roasts kind of coming off the hips a little bit. Got a couple, looks like I'm smuggling a couple chuck roasts out of Walmart, but also it kind of I'm vascular, so I have those veins kind of coming around. But yeah, and then another thing I've been doing a lot higher is I've been hitting that clickbait extra heavy, like when it's like Seahouse, blank got absolutely jacked for his role in blank, and I'm like, yeah, I mean. How did see how Zac Efron got in the best Hollywood body ever for Baywatch? I'm like, okay, yeah, like how did he do that? How and then it's got all those other I mean, you could find yourself in a click hole, as I call it, like a sinkhole. It's like a click hole. You can find yourself in a click hole of bodies for. I mean, I went out. I bought instead of working out, I buy the body magazines, the ESPN body issues. I read a lot. It's kind of like my dad. He reads a lot of golfing books, but he doesn't golf a lot, and he thinks that's going to help his game, which it just simply doesn't make any sense to me, It's like reading a shot. It's like reading books on how to shoot a jump shot, and then just not actually going to the gym and shooting them, and then wondering why your jump shot's not getting better because you read all those books. That's kind of what I'm doing with my body. I think if I read, all the things about getting a nice bod, then maybe that'll come to fruition. But obviously not yet. Let's see. Last summer I kicked off my summer. This is a pretty good story. I kicked off my summer. I went to a pool party with this girl that I just recently met, like very recently. We hadn't even, I don't even think we didn't even, hadn't even gone on a date yet. She invited me to a pool party with her friends. Obviously, I don't think I'd even met her friends or anything. And the pool party was in, I think it was Greenfield or Greenwood. It was about 45 minutes south of Indianapolis. And I get there and like we haven't exchanged any words. Like and I look over and there's a Jeep Wrangler packed up, ready to go with no doors. No, it's like I guess they call it stripped. Jeep people call it stripped. So there's this Jeep Wrangler and it's stripped. And so I'm sitting in the back seat with this girl who I just met, and we're on the highway in a stripped Jeep Wrangler. I don't know if anybody's ever ridden on a motorcycle and tried to like the person in the back tried to talk to the person in the front. But you can't. And you can't. And then the most annoying part was like her friend was trying to talk to me from the front seat, and I was like, I was trying to read her lips the whole time. I was like nodding my head, and then finally I was like, no, fuck this. Like, I'm just gonna act like I can't even hear you anymore. Like I was all leaned in, I was all hunched over. Like I think like after a while her lips were starting to touch my earlobe, because that's how close I had to get to even try to even understand what was going on, and like. I mean, I used to think going to a movie was like one of the worst first dates because you like, hey, I really like you. Let's go somewhere we can't talk for 3 hours. That was kind of what this was, except worse because you're allowed to talk in this Jeep, but you can't, and then they try to. Whereas in a movie, it's like you're not really allowed to talk so much, and no one really tries to usually. So. But anyway, getting back on the topic of of pool season and kind of pool moves and cool shit you can do in a pool. So we at our fratty pool at the 82 Flats in north side of Indianapolis, we had it was pretty heavy competition, great time. But my boy Jeff used to pull this move out when he was in a pinch. He would hit what we call the down and back, the DMB. Basically his number one play in his playbook. It's where you start on one end of the pool and then you go under and you swim all the way to the other end, touch the wall, come back all while underwater. That was sort of his thing. People would gather around. People would come from other pools to see him do it. He kind of felt like sort of like the Michael Phelps of the. See, he's got that upper body that his upper body's like 3 or 4 times maybe the size of his lower body. So he kind of looks like Joe, the police officer in Family Guy. When you dump him in the pool, you don't know if his legs will work. He's just got kind of like that motor on the upper body half, That thing, I mean, it just basically drags his lower body up and down the pool. He's got his distribution. It just takes a couple breaststrokes from his arms, and that his shit takes off like a fucking, like a submarine. And so, I mean, but hey, he built himself like that. That's what he wanted. So yeah, I mean, you gotta give props where props are due. Obviously, you have all the other great pool moves. You got the pick and roll. Say you see a nice lady, a nice pool wench with someone who's not really your boyfriend. They just kind of start talking, and your friend's like, hey, I'm trying to talk. Then you go up there, you set a pick on him. You just go like, hey man, you want to take a shot or something? Then your boy kind of rolls in behind. So I could go on for days about the playbook. I might even just publish the playbook as like a freestanding sort of editorial of sorts. Because I mean, this whole podcast could be called the playbook. It's like that green playbook in Waterboy that gets stolen from the coach, and it's got all the plays, and the other coach that stole it gets famous, and like he wins all those games because he stole the best plays. So I got to be careful with the playbook right now. But definitely feel free to like text me or DM me about sort of how you can up your game come this heat season. The heat season, So so there's all that. But no, here's and what I'm gonna do a little early nope alert. I'm gonna go into some early nope alerts because this is something that we all need to talk about. But we can't be. Hey, listen, okay? Like, I'm tired of paying all this money for menu items at places just because they try to make the name of the restaurant like something edgy, and all they're doing is including like things around the restaurant, like people that are like southwestern plate and table. What? Oh, so and so's kitchen and refined eatery. So and so's kitchen and grill. You got it's like Joey's Southern Stove and Fork, or like Italian Bistro and um, an artisanal earth. You know, I think what do we got? What do we got in Broader? We got Louis Wine Dive and Kitchen. I don't know, something like that. Louis Wine Dive and Kitchen, and then we got like it's something else across the street. It's like Gourmet Meats and Knife. Dude, I am never gonna go into another restaurant that is just like it just names like a general, like it's something you could eat and then something that they have. Like, dude, imagine like six like owners, they all have like a bunch of money, they can't figure out what they want to name. They're like, no, we're not gonna call it that. And they're like, well, what should we call it? And they're like, let's call it. Well, we have tables here, and we just got some ranch. Let's call it uh, Hidden Valley Table and Ranch. Okay. Okay. What should we charge them? Twice as much as we want, because it's that we have that name, in that minimalist environment when you come in. And for me, that's just I would take them. I'd be like, hey, you guys want to go with me to the Southern Eatery and Nope? Hey, Hey, let's go get a some some Italian Nope with some Nope dressing on it down in Nopes in Southern Nopesville, something like that. I don't know. You guys get the point, though. Also, another absolutely 26.2 times the Nope alert is gonna. It came in from a fan, a good friend of mine, a fan, Brooke. And I'm gonna get this last name wrong. Brooke, and I don't even know if she wants to be on the show, but Thomas Nicoletti Woodruff. She had a hyphenated name in college. I don't know if you ever get rid of a hyphenated name. We can talk about that at a different time. But Brooke, a great friend of mine, number one listener. She sent me a picture of some car keys you could have made, or a house key that just it comes engraved with 26.2 to let you know. Like she was saying, she's like, in case you forget that you can run that far. On your keys as a reminder, essentially, like, hey, basically why start your car when you like if anything is within 26.2 miles of your house and you've run a marathon and you have the sticker and like a fucking and the key and you drink the 26.2 beer that I posted the other day on my, like, someone's making a beer now that says 26.2. It's like a marathon beer, but it's like, I mean, I don't fucking even know what that means. If you do all that, then you're not. I mean, you shouldn't even be allowed to drive anywhere than 26 miles of your house. Just because you got those legs, boy. You got those legs. You've been bragging about. So, don't let me catch you in a traffic jam in front of me with that sticker, that bumper sticker. And that's a throwback Nope alert, and that's a consistent, boy. But I mean, anytime you get a fan plug, you gotta shout it out. So, Brooke, love you. Appreciate that. Moving forward, henceforth forward. Here's a nice. Hey, okay. Um, so, my mom recently found out about like if you ask for a beer or something at like a restaurant, and they bring out like those little shot glasses, a taster. But like a lot of times these restaurants are bringing out like, probably like 3 ounces worth of beer, like a nice hefty boy. My mom has been going into restaurants and being like, oh, I want to try these three. So she's going in there getting like nine ounces of IPA to start off, and then she'll order one out of those three, and then she'll ask to taste three more. So then she gets 9 more ounces, and then she'll order one from those three. She has the audacity to be like, "This one's not good. That one's not good." Like, hey, that's the point of testing it out, right? So she's kind of onto something, I think, as a senior citizen almost. That could be like an AARP kind of discount, I think. If you sign up for AARP, you get, 3 testers per beer. I think would be a good sort of advertisement for AARP right now. I could see that really working out for him, because I know, like, this world we live in, we're boozing more, you know. Like, you can't get all wrapped up in the day to day, and so people are like, I gotta do what I gotta do. But then, you turn on the television, it's like, you can't do that. Cable, I didn't even know was still a thing until I moved home, obviously. So that was a shocker that people still use cable. But yeah, so I mean, if you guys are feeling like you're not getting your money's worth, you just ask for those tester boys. You could end up getting like 28 ounces of free beer every time you go into a place. Every time you go to a refinery and hops smith. If you go to a Broad Herbal hop and aromatherapy, artisanal hops and palate, then yeah, just ask for a couple of those sample boys. All right, you heard it here. You heard it here first. Get them sample boys. But I'm gonna wrap up this podcast real quick. It's a short boy, but just gotta get some samplers out there. This is one of those little these podcasts I'm coming out with. These seriously fucking with you podcasts are like those little. You're walking through Costco, you get a couple samplers. I like this one, I didn't like that one. I need some feedback. I gotta find that voice because I don't want to lose you guys. You guys are my people, and I'll leave you guys with this little segment that I think is a kind of a little bit of a gem. I was in Miami 2 weeks ago, I think, maybe 2.5. I was in Miami doing some reconnaissance down there, and I caught up with the two great friends of mine, Morgan and Caitlin, and their friends down there. But I can't. Sometimes you can't remember some people's names. Like my name's Joey, right? And if I hang out with you and your friends, and someone's like, "Oh, who is your friend? Corey, or Robbie?" Or Jonesy. If they say some stuff like that, just be like, "Yeah, yep." Like, you basically got it right, okay? I'm not gonna be mad if you got like some sort of generic white name that ends in Y or IE, and you mix me up in that. I'm not mad. I just didn't get it right, But I was missing my good friend of mine, Morgan. I was missing her boyfriend's his name. I was messing it up, and I still don't know what it is. Brad or Chad or Josh, or it's something 4 letters. And anyway, she fired back with like, "What's your name? Corn?" Because now she lives in Miami, so it's she's cool. But I was laughing because corn. Like, imagine if we. Because I live in Indiana. I'm from Indiana, so like I'm corn. So like, but people are like, I had a buddy. He'd be like, "I am Jack, son of Tim." And he'd always introduce himself like that, like the olden days, where people would just be like, or like they'd say their territory. It'd be like, "I am Jack, son of Tim, land of corn," essentially, is what we're going for. Like, so I'm thinking about naming my firstborn or all my kids' middle names Corn. You got Daniel Corn Bender, son of Joey, something like that. Like that, I might even make that his name, Daniel Corn, son of Joey Bender. Corn, son of Joey's his whole middle name. Imagine bubbling that in on a Scantron. But I think people should like have to identify where they're from, because like, I don't want to guess, and it's kind of a pride thing, If you're from fucking, if you're from Italy, like. Giovanni Grapes Bernard or whatever, Giovanni Graves Versace. Like, that's what it should be. You should have to identify as maybe an agriculture from your area, or some sort of like, if you're from Detroit, you can be like Dale Steel Mill, Brown or whatever, like something that just identifies where you're. That way I can get like actually make an educated guess, you know, because my name is Joey and that sounds Italian. I got Joey, Jimmy, and Mikey. Those are all three of my closest relatives, my best friends in my relative group, and like that, you'd think we were all Italian, and we're mostly Irish and a little German. So it's like, you know, names are deceiving. So on that note, you know what? It's April. We're heading into May. This is your boy Corn, and I don't know. I guess that's all we got here for this episode.